Welcome to Ohms Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Ohms, and today we're going to be talking about brain rot. So, dial it in or don't. I hope you guys are ready to drill on yourself and learn about what is happening in regard to brain rot. Is it affecting you? Has it already affected you? Is it affecting your children? What should you do? Our co-host, Lone Salesman, is going to tell us what he's seen and what he's had to deal with growing up, and myself included, and see if this brain rot is just buzzwords or is it something more. We have some research that we've been looking at for the past couple of months. This is it's not in my wheelhouse, but I did take the time to kind of go over some stuff, and we'll try and make this a fun one. So take it away.
Wow. Okay. And yeah, this task was quite daunting, and I thought, okay, this would be fun to talk about because I thought it might connect with the game dev stuff, because the first thing I wanted to talk about was Sprunki, which actually came from an independent game dev. Then I started seeing the Italian Brainrot stuff, and I do have a kid, and every now and then we do let them watch YouTube, but of course I'm monitoring the content. And the more I saw, the more I was just like shocked how much YouTube had changed. And when I started asking you, researching into this, and then what you came back with, it was quite frightening. And I thought about, okay, what are the things we can talk about on this specifically? So starting with Sprunki, right? This was a seemingly harmless, game mod made by a game called Incredibox, and then this young developer who was like a teenager at the time made these characters, and people just kept making more and more iterations of this on itch.io. If you look up Sprunki, there's tons of different mods, and I'm like, wow, and kids love this, and my daughter likes drawing the characters, and it's seemingly harmless, but it has that Five Nights at Freddy's effect where they start to make horror icons of them too. So there's like a happy side and then a horror side to it. So I'm like, why is this? And it's everywhere, and it's so accessible to like kids on YouTube. People are making content about it. And the interesting thing is, besides YouTube regulating it, they're made up characters by someone. They're not licensed or anything, trademarked. Same thing as these Italian Brainrot memes. Anyone can do anything with them, and they're recognizable. And it's something that I don't think we ever had when we grew up. Like, everything we grew up with was on Disney, TV, whatever, toys, cartoons, everything was processed for us. And for better or worse, I mean, some of those things weren't exactly good for us, but they were tailored content and somewhat regulated. So now with YouTube, if you're not using parental settings to filter what your kids are watching, they can find all kinds of stuff. And we'll talk about more later, but I think the video you shared with me, we'll put it in the link below, but it was basically saying how we've grown up to know the difference between AI and other stuff, but kids don't quite know the difference. They just think this is real or content, whatever. Even something as seamlessly harmless as Cocomelon, has been proven to be not educational at all, not helpful. In our time, I think they did similar studies with like SpongeBob versus other cartoons. It's like the kids who would watch SpongeBob did worse. So, I mean, what you had found was worse, though. I think it's like the effects of some of this are long-term, really terrible. So, like, what were some of the things that you found like struck out the most to you?
So one of the guys that I really like to follow is Scott Galloway, and I was watching one of his interviews that he had done somewhere in Europe, and he was talking about, because he has children of his own, but he was saying that he has done some research, and he was saying, and I quote, "The research shows that the amount of time your kids spend on a screen is inversely correlated to their success and emotional well-being." I mean, that in itself is already kind of a fucking big problem, and at least in my eyes. And it's just like, all right, so there's obviously too much screen time. There's that. And then there's also this other stuff that I came across from one of these research papers that says, from Annie E. Casey Foundation from 2024, was influencer trust is powerful. Nearly half of Gen Alpha say that they trust creators as much as friends and family. Like, I don't know what it is that is actually being catered to kids or younger generations, I should say,
hmm
that is leveraging their trust to them. And then there's also like other things too. Like one of the big ones, I was talking about this with a friend, was that marketing, like Gen Alpha and all these younger kids, that like they have like credit card spending habits, like
Oh
bad
yeah,
ones, like addiction. Like so marketing, like all these things are being used in such a way that it's kind of like swayed to marketing and online shopping addiction and like all these things. So I don't know.
yeah.
Those are them. Those are some of the things that I've highlighted in my research or me looking into it.
Yeah, I think in one of the videos it was like some kids who are anticipating getting a fucking Stanley Cup or something, like a goddamn cup. I don't think anyone, dude, I don't think anyone was excited to get a goddamn cup in our like maybe the McDonald's glass cups, like those are cool, like the Shrek and whatever's, but like no
Yeah.
one was like obsessing over getting a goddamn cup. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a
It's just
status.
accelerated.
Same thing. So okay, let's maybe do some comparisons here. So Labubu, my kid doesn't.
Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies, Tamagotchi, there were always something popular or some fad to buy. So I'm not going to knock on the Labubus because that's just a generational thing of the next hottest thing. And even it's not even for kids, like older people are obsessed with them too. So I don't feel like it's like a big deal, but it's just the like what you mentioned is what's being put out in front of their faces that, oh, you need to have this, or it's just like in Fortnite or any video game, it's like if you're playing the game and you don't have a cosmetic skin, you're kind of like, oh, like you feel bad. The game makes you feel bad about not having like a cosmetic or something. So having these things make you feel good. It makes you feel cool. It's like having cool clothes or whatever. And people are just spending money and don't even realize the value of what they're spending on. So, and it all starts with the YouTubes and the influencers, like you said. Like I think growing up, there was no such thing as an influencer.
I mean, we had Bill Nye. I'd say that's like the closest thing, like growing up. But he was still a positive,
They
a
were
positive model.
celebrities. Yeah, they were
Right.
but they made it right. They had a platform. All these people on TV or movies, whoever we watched on television, public access. What's his name, Mr. Rogers? Like some people are put in front of your face, and then there's bad examples. I mean, I think everyone back in the day said, MTV, Johnny Knoxville, Jackass, like
Hmm.
was probably making people do stupid shit, but it was like one of those things, don't try this at home, but then of course they do it. Wrestling, I mean, but it's like there was a layer of I don't know if you look up to those people, like you kind of knew that like they were dumb, but the thing about YouTube, what's scary is to be on TV or a movie, you knew there was like layers to go there, right? Like you had people going to LA and going to do all these things, maybe, but anyone can get on YouTube or TikTok and just start filming themselves and get this attention if you put in enough effort.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's all true.
I mean, that's what we're doing, right? We're putting this stuff on YouTube, and it's like, but we just do it because we like to do it, and it's fun for us. And I'm not looking up to be like I know there's layers to it too. I think people don't get it yet that there's certain factors that you have to do to make it. So, I mean, so like, I don't know how like you can identify yourself with someone like Mr. Beast. Like how? Because he's nice and does. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but it's the same reason why maybe I wouldn't identify with celebrity. Like maybe people are just different. Like more grounded people, like Keanu Reeves. Like a lot of people, like, oh, he's a cool guy. I can connect with him, but I don't know. In one sense, it's a good thing, and I'm gonna jump to some of the questions that we had talked and thought about. But what is something that enforced a social circle? And when it comes to influencers and stuff, it's like you can at least kind of have some common ground. Like if it's a YouTube comment, on Minecraft or Sprunky or whatever, you can find a community around that. I think the more healthy ways is stuff like school, clubs, sports, hobbies. You even said like church, which you may or may not agree with, but those are just things that connected people in mostly healthy ways. Whereas the digital world, there's just you don't know what you could be getting into. So growing up, do you think you had more like you gained life skills by going through some of these things or not really?
Well, me personally, I was too poor to go to school and to the school sports stuff. Like, so my out was skateboarding. So I would always go out every day skateboarding. And then I was brought up in a religious church. I'm not practicing, but I still respect it for what it is. My grandma, she raised us, so she was a hardcore Bible thumper. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday church. Like it was like
Damn.
that. But yeah, I know. But the thing, like, whenever I ended up joining the military and I came over here, I was talking with one of my pen pals from Seoul. She's from Korea, and I asked her what her dad did, and she was saying that her dad was an ethics teacher. And I thought that was crazy. And she asked me, she was like, "You guys don't have that?" And I was like, "No, we don't have anything like that." And I was thinking about it, and I was like, the closest thing we have to that is something like church, or maybe even like a sports group. Because like
Mm,
in sports, like they really do focus, and they teach pretty relentlessly, like about leadership skills and how your actions
discipline.
are going to be affecting someone else. Yeah, all of that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's important. It was important. It definitely had a huge impact on me growing up. Even with skateboarding, like being able to just roll up and see other people with a skateboard. Like there's etiquette. You end up learning these things. Like you don't learn this in school. You just learn it just from being in the discipline or whatever it is that your hobby
Yeah,
is. Like you figure out all the nuances. So I think that's important.
absolutely. I guess because in Japan they they don't have like religion's not a huge thing, but as a society there are certain expectations and people normally fall into them, but you do see sometimes younger people just not giving a crap or whatever. People on their phones, not connected. Like the train platform. I'm in Tokyo, so I'm always on the train, and they're constantly warning people, "Hey, don't walk with your phone. Please don't like walk around on your phone. You're going to cause an accident. You're going to run into someone." And it's like, people do it anyway, and I catch myself doing it too sometimes. Either I'm busy or I'm just like zombied in, and it's like that's just the world, we're setting ourselves to be in. And it's so easy because the main purpose of everything on your phone is to keep your attention and keep you on the app or whatever you're using. So now that it's like that for kids, and the thing with TV, it's like you could take it away, right? I mean, TV wasn't in everyone's room, but now the phones are portable, the tablets, you could take them anywhere. So if you're not regulating it, kids or whoever can be on them. You want me, I know we're talking about young kids right now, but I had a conversation with a coworker, and the kid's around, teenager, right? So he was trying to, he was using the parental controls too, but his kid figured out how to watch YouTube through the Giphy app.
That's impressive.
And you know what? How can you even be mad? Because if they're able to find ways, and and that's the thing, kids are getting so much smarter, and you can kind of make this like it is kind of a problem solving thing to get what you want, or maybe be clever. So I mean, it's not the best way, but there are ways around these controls if the kids know what they're doing. If the parent sets it like even something as simple as someone saving their password manager on the device, you're basically circumventing the whole reason why you need parental controls if the kid knows your password, or knows how to get into your phone and stuff like that. So maybe if the parent's not just so tech savvy, even if they are, there's always going to be a way to circumvent it. And as they're younger, they probably can't do that. But as they're older, it is what it is. Like there's going to find a way. I can't really comment on the effects it has for older kids, but did you find anything on that as far as older kids go?
In regard to them and like how they treat technology now and the effects it's going to have on them long term, I would say it's definitely going to help dial them into like things that they're already passionate about. And if they're going like, I think it's a good thing, but for the reasons are not so good. Because like, first off, if this kid, we're going to use that kid, a friend of yours or whatever, his kid, like if he's going through the effort of figuring out how to get what he wants through the Giphy app to watch YouTube, like that's already impressive. Like that it's scary, but the thing is, it shows that the kid's too smart for his own good. But what does that really mean? Like for whenever he ends up getting older, is it going to mean that he's going to start like doing nefarious things as he gets older? I don't think so. I mean, like I was doing dumb shit when I was a young kid too. I mean, I would say arguably worse shit, like not stuff that I'm not proud of, but like it's just funny to me because I compare this a lot to like the Satanic Panic and stuff. My mom, she like they were really about that back then. Like my grandma wouldn't let my mom watch the Smurfs because she thought there was a pentagram in the intro. Like how insane is that? You know?
Well, they are pretty
Like,
evil.
Sure, but
there's only one girl. I mean, come on.
Look, we're not going to get into the Smurfs right now.
You know what's actually Smurfs is popular in Japan? So is Curious George. They pick the most random cartoons to just cling on to.
And
anyway,
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas, yep.
But they love Mr. Bean and Tom and Jerry.
I think the church just announced that Pokemon was evil. One of the popes. Wow. So that was another thing. Back when we were growing up, remember? They said, "Oh, Pokemon's connected to same thing. It's like, oh, you're collecting cards and these monsters are actually called pocket monsters. Yeah, they're hiding it. They're hiding it." And it's like, no, it's just because they wanted to rename it to something catchy. Same thing as Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, they were sending people to hell. How come no one got mad about Yu-Gi-Oh? Manga?
Because it was the Shadow Realm. It's not hell. It's the Shadow Realm.
Hell,
anyway,
dude.
Going back to Pokemon.
People were dying.
Shut up. No, it's not.
The dude put a gun to Pegasus' head.
No, he didn't.
Over a goddamn card game.
No. But he's American, so he gets the fucking pass. Come on. It's all right.
And May was dressed Pegasus. Very scantalously. She was...
I mean, it's Pegasus. He has a bunch of kids on an island.
Yeah. Fantasy Island.
Look.
Actually, whoa. I didn't even think about that.
No, but see, look, we were brought up in a time where you had stuff like that. Like I grew up on Sailor Moon and Gundam and Dragon Ball Z. There was a lot of really crazy stuff. And is that worse to what this kid that is trying to get on YouTube through Giphy to watch a Sprunky video or whatever it is? No, I don't think so. But I don't know, man. Like these are very big questions, and I think that the access to internet is definitely more dangerous now than ever. Like what safeguards are there, I don't know. It seems like these big corporations, they just don't care. They care about what the stockholders care about. It's no big secret that they're gonna use and exploit you. And how are kids any different?
So Google, I like Google's, but there's a lot of settings you have to go through that's quite daunting. And they do have this like thing called Kid Space, and it's supposed to be like a locked environment. That shows, or YouTube Kids too. But you know what? I think my daughter is smart enough to know, oh, this is for babies. Like I'm not using this. F that. Because, she's already knows that there's another version out there. And I guess that's kind of my fault. But how much can you really shield them to know, like, before they figure it out? Like Santa, like.
Yeah. Like when do you start taking off the, the training wheel, so to speak? Like, are you already thinking about that? Like, what are you doing now?
So, I mean, what I try to do now is I set time limits. There's like certain things you can set. Like, so part of my job in tech is I can set, I know how to set controls and stuff. So this stuff is kind of easy for me. So I know what she can and can't do, like restrict certain apps. Like she can't just go on the internet or use like an app that uses communication like Zoom or something. So I think little things like that are important, that you can make sure that they don't have ways of people getting to them. But then I think the other problem is what I found interesting in the school, or sorry, in the app, was that there's now settings to allow your teachers to approve apps for kids. And I don't know what they're doing in the States. I don't think they're quite catching on here in Japan, but I think they're starting to even let kids just use their own devices for learning or homework or whatever. So you have to let them use the device to do some tasks. I mean, we're somewhat different. I think you're a bit older than me, but I still had homework assignments where I had to do research or go to the library. And sometimes you had to use the computer, go on the website or whatever. So to be fair, we didn't have much restrictions back in our day. Like, no one was looking into that. Like, yeah, the library, they had proxies and stuff, but at home, I doubt many parents set anything like that up.
Well, so for me, internet was a privilege, a huge privilege. Like, I didn't grow up a whole lot, but I was able to go to high school into this thing called digital campus, where like, basically, if you're poor enough, you can get a MacBook and do all your schoolwork on that. Like, you get a MacBook, you just pay like $60, and if you break it, then you pay like X amount for insurance cost or whatever. Anyway, like, I didn't have internet, so I had to like go in the garage and steal the internet and the Wi-Fi from some unprotected Wi-Fi in my grandma's garage to like watch YouTube and stuff like that. But nowadays, like, internet is such a it's such a necessity. Like, if you don't have internet, man, you absolutely need it. Like, a lot of places, maybe not so much over here in like rural Japan, but you need to pay your bills that way. You need to communicate. Some people need to do their jobs that way. And like you said originally, it's about doing your homework. So you need it for education. And I mean, we already saw like how much of this was touched upon, and how unprepared a lot of people were during COVID, and all of that changed drastically. We're here with it. We're here with it, and it's here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, at least now people can adapt and use technology more. People who grew up with this stuff can adapt easier, just how we adapted to technology before our parents. So you can even arguably say younger people know how to use AI better than most people that have to take classes and stuff for it. And getting used to that itself will also just set you up. However you feel about AI and how people use it, regardless, it's just going to be one of those things that will probably come to stay. I think the current models of how it's working is limited, but it'll only until the next breakthrough comes. Besides just a language model, if it evolves past that too, it'll only get better. And who will have the advantage is the young people who are using it now.
Yeah, but they're going to be definitely missing out on like just personable skills, like just normal stuff like focus. That's so common knowledge. Like, turn off everything, don't have any distractions, read a book. Like, you cannot ask that from kids now, or even younger adults now. It's crazy.
I think it's just one of those things you have to reinforce. So especially you build a routine. So what I like to do is, we can let her watch some stuff, but after a certain point, we turn it off. I think I've stopped letting her use it on the go. I've seen some parents, like I was in Ueno the other day, and they had a shoulder of two kids, and both had a phone, both looking at videos and stuff. I'm like, if you're out and about, you should probably just like take the phones away from them so they can kind of just look around and, I don't know, think of stuff. Because one thing I like that my kid does is she likes to draw, and I'm really happy about that. So she's got all her pens and markers and stuff, and she wants to use I had an iPad for work, and she thought it was really cool that she could just draw digitally and then keep going, instead of like, she had one of those cheap ones, with the plastic, and you hit the button to erase it. I forgot what they're called.
Oh, like a boogie board?
Yeah. You just shake it and it goes away. So she had one like that, which, she likes, but drawing on the tablet was a bit more satisfying. So I'm okay with that if she's, doing that. Like, you can, like, imagine kids now can like if they want to be artistic, they get into Photoshop and Adobe and all that like really early on. And they just, instead of the art just going on paper and maybe being forgotten, they already know how to just digitally. And you could say, oh, well, that'll be obsolete because of AI. I don't think so. I think having that creative mindset and those skills, like you talked about, like critical thinking, being able to create your own things is still very valuable. Going back to like what you said about community and sports and stuff. So military, those are like the reason those are so important is because there's just common traits that people have gone through those things that people have. So when you have someone who's just had their whole life behind a screen, okay, maybe you can expect them to be good with the computer stuff, but you still don't quite know. It's like a little gamble, right? It's like, okay, 18 years from now or 20 years from now, will the iPad kids be superior workers? Will they work smarter but get more done? Maybe. Like, I am a firm believer if you can work smarter and not work harder, then that's great. But someone's still going to have to do trade jobs and stuff like that. So one cool thing I have seen, so I walked past this dealership and they've been doing construction for a long time, and I see a lot of young people working there, young women, guys. So I think if some people have a certain level of like, okay, you know what? I just want a job that's high paying and then I can just do whatever I want and be lazy in that sense, then I think that's great. If you just have skills just to jump into anything, you don't want to have be stuck in a place where you can't go anywhere, but at least if you're willing to figure out a clever way to make a lot of money in a short amount of time, then that's good too. The best thing that any parent can do is just like reinforce those habits, limit certain things, do real things. Like I think in some of the stuff you wrote was like DIY stuff, like farming, taking care of animals, taking them to go like do charity, taking them to go volunteer at the old person's home, like little things like that. Toys, making up stories and stuff. You know, you still want to foster that imagination instead of just their whole world being revolved around what they see on the screen. I mean, going back to just if you lived your whole life behind the TV or watching reality TV shows, that could ruin your sense of reality too, right? It's not like it's been an old thing or a new thing. It's just what do you surround yourself around, building your environment and those habits that make you a better person.
Yeah, I think that's really good to like end on. Like as far as like what you were saying is like what can parents do to do better or help them out? And like I know I'm not a parent, but I think this is still pretty good general advice given like the topic. Kids look at iPads as a toy at the end of the day, right? I don't think like the idea even came to fruition of them thinking of it as a resource. They just look at it as entertainment, and entertainment is a toy. I mean, by my logic, anyway.
Yeah,
So
I
whenever I
mean,
was growing up, and when I compare it, I'm looking at it like, what was my first toy? You know what mine was, dude? I got my dad. He came home with like an old Scholastic box for like pencils, but inside were nothing but just like jumbled pieces of Legos. That's all I had. That was my first toy. Yeah, and I loved it. I like we were poor, we didn't have anything, so like that was my first toy. And then after that, I've always been really grateful of the toys like that I've been given as I get older. But
mm,
it's saddening to me that kids these days are so reliant on iPads and YouTube as devices to stimulate themselves. And
right.
that's not to say that like things like these Italian brain rot toys aren't doing the same thing, but I don't really see it as like the same as like some Legos, you know?
Um, I mean, one thing I could say maybe is it's funny. Okay, some of these characters are just like they're just funny, like the shark wearing shoes or the ballerina cap. It's just so stupid and dumb, but it's like kind of funny. So I guess it can kind of spark your imagination for being like funny and personable. I guess like I don't know what this like the 6 7 thing came from like some song or something. I like there's dumb jokes that we all know and love, So if you can take it like that and maybe like, oh, okay, maybe I can use this to be funny or entertain people my own way. Like Legos and stuff like that, like Thomas, like we made fun of Thomas, but like if you actually get the Thomas sets and build like rails and stuff and make them move, and it's actually pretty cool. Like and maybe that could lead to some other stuff. So like any toy that can spark something along, they have a program it's called STEM. It's like science, tech, engineering, and mathematics. So any toy that can reinforce one of those things is beneficial. So Legos is a big one. Like they even have Legos now you can program with like Scratch and stuff. So get into robotics. So like if you really wanted to, or you could just build stuff and have fun. And as long as there's a balance, maybe like sure you can still have the tablet to just maybe mellow out and chill. But if there's other toys that are there that might help them, like we have these like magnetic ones too that connect or something. There's just all kinds of stuff like that. And or if they can pretend and role play, like, show empathy and, stuff like that, like pretend to be a shop, pretend to be a doctor. Like, dude, like playing doctor, like how innocent and nice is that? It's to pretend to, help someone or cure them or something, So, yeah, and I'm not like I'm just a parent, but I have done some research and tried to find, positive ways. Parents do get tired. So I don't blame some parents if you do want to like put your kid on Disney Plus or something to watch Frozen for the millionth time, whatever. You could say whatever you want about Disney, but it's mostly like harmless, right? Whereas in other senses, kids are now, let's say they get into Demon Slayer. I think you you had here like there was a kid that went around. What was he? This kid that was around 16 went to go see this movie like 7 times or something, and okay, well they're really into it. But maybe younger kids, Demon Slayer, it's a battle of good and evil, as violent as it is. But I don't know. The problem with violence is and any sexual theme of something like like what's I forgot one of the demons, but she has really big breasts, and it's like I don't know if kids should really be watching this, and you really have to make that decision. And I think the important part is explaining or making sure they understand like what they're saying is either not real or that you probably shouldn't dress like this or act like this. I mean, the bad characters are obviously bad, but if the good characters start doing weird stuff too, then like I would never like show my kid Evangelion. Like she's watched the battle scenes, but nothing beyond that. I'm not gonna show her. Uh, um,
I hope not.
like Gundam, some of these shows are innocent, I guess, but it's all about what you explain. Like Star Wars now. I mean, Star Wars is harmless too, I guess. I don't know. It's so hard. And if they're into something, great. Like say what you want about Minecraft, but I think Minecraft has a similar effect like Legos. Dude, I was at a Thanksgiving party and this kid hopped on Minecraft and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna build the red elevator." And I'm like, "What the heck is that?" And he knew how to build an elevator that like it was like dynamite, and it like launched his character up in the air, and then he landed on this platform, and it was like, okay, that's pretty entertaining. Like, but he knew like where to put the blocks and stuff and make this effect. He was using the red dust too, so I'm like, okay, that's engineering.
Yeah, it is.
It's a game, but
That's logic gates whenever you're dealing with red dust. I'm not a huge fan of Minecraft because I had to look up I needed to look up a recipe to make a stick. So there you go. That's all you really got to know about me in regard to Minecraft. But I understand what you're saying. It's a really good tool.
I wouldn't be upset unless they became like obsessed and like, oh, I need to always be on Minecraft. Like, I don't know. We could wrap this one up and just say that I think brain rot we references as brain rot, but just content on YouTube or content is readily available at the fingertips, and it's just like a cautionary tale that you do need to like stop the brakes or put a stop or watch what your kids are watching or watch what whoever's growing up is watching, even yourselves. Like, stop and think, like, is this actually something that's going to benefit me or them? We all need to be entertained for our own sanity, but we don't need to be obsessed with it constantly.
Agreed. I think that's really good. Yeah, well, that's the end of the show. We'll see what happens. We'll probably do another episode start of the new year, maybe sometime in February, whenever the holidays are winding down. But thanks for listening. If you gotten this far, please subscribe, like, whatever, leave a comment. If you're a parent, tell us what you do.
Yeah.
Let us know what your first toy was. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Good episode.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.